What's up, Gotcha Gang? Kawaii50 here with another Genshin Impact video. Like and subscribe if you enjoy it. And gang, it occurs to me, I have not done a tier maker video. I understand, they're super fun to make. So many people do it, but I haven't done one on this channel yet. So why don't we go ahead and rectify that with a Genshin Impact tier list. This is going to be my tier list of the characters in the game based on what I have personally experienced playing co-op, playing Spiral Abyss, doing world quests, exploring the world, all of that stuff. But before I make this tier list, gang, disclaimer about tier lists, because it seems a lot of people like to take them personally. Tier lists are a very useful tool. And when you look at a tier list, you should consider that tier list is designed as if somebody had access to everything in the game and was good with every single character. What you need to keep in mind is that your own personal skill is going to trump absolutely any tier list. Basically, just look at this tier list as I build it, as I finalize it, as, hey, characters up near the top are going to be a lot easier to use than the characters down at the bottom. You still make the characters down at the bottom work if you're really good, but characters around the top, going to be easier. Think about that. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Now I want to go ahead and get this out of the way for all of the Amber stands out there. But Amber, I am actually going to go ahead and put in C tier, not D tier. There's a couple reasons for that. She does have problems, but she is very good for exploration. Let's start with the pros. That gliding stamina consumption reduction is great. Her fire arrows and the ability to take care of vines on chests, as well as explode different electro ores, super good. That's all great. Now, let's go ahead and get to what just bothers me with Amber's kit. Her Baron Bunny. Baron Bunny had a lot of potential, but I don't quite understand why they locked the ability to blow it up with her arrows to Constellation level 2. I kind of really wish they had just kept that as a general static ability, because it really seems designed for it. Have all of your enemies gather around the Baron Bunny, blow it up with a skill. Easy, right? You would be able to even say, if we could combine that with an AoE attack, like maybe a Venti attack or a catching attack or something like that, and detonate the Baron Bunny while you're hitting them with that attack, that would just be phenomenal. Unfortunately, that is not how Baron Bunny functions. Her ultimate as well is not super great. I find my enemies end up leaving it more often than not before its duration is finished, so it doesn't end up dealing all of the damage that it could. But because of Amber's ability to assist in exploration, I firmly place her in C tier. She's not D, but we will get to the D tier characters in just a sec. Barbara, I'm gonna need you to just go ahead and pop up there into S tier. Barbara is the second best healer in the entire game. The first is going to pop up in double S, and you might have already guessed who that is. But we're talking about Barbara right now. Let's talk about Barbara. The fact that her heals end up scaling off of her maximum HP is excellent, because you can just build a super tanky Barbara and end up having her heal your entire team. She can stay on the field for a very long time because of that huge HP pool, and it doesn't matter. You'll easily be able to heal your entire team back up to full and get them back out on the front lines dealing damage. That's really the greatest thing about Barbara. And if you manage to Constellation 6 her ability to automatically revive any character on the field that's not her is going to be a wonderful blessing to you in some of the more difficult content. Barbara, S tier. And it is here, along with another character, that we are unfortunately gonna have to start the D tier placements. And I'm gonna go ahead and put Beidou down in there. And here's the reason why. Beidou's abilities are all designed around the enemy hitting her in order for her to deal additional damage. In a game like Genshin Impact, where all of the damage is being dealt via elemental chains, being able to swap out your characters as quickly as possible to get all those different elemental chains is crucial to your success. Having a character designed so much around just a prolonged stint on the battlefield to maximize her damage output, that's not great. That's just not great based on the functional design of the game. So I unfortunately have to chuck Beidou in D tier. But if you need an Electro Claymore user, there's another one coming up in just a bit. Now, Bennett, my boy, you're going to go ahead and slide up into the B tier. Now, why is Bennett sitting in the B tier? Bennett is sitting in the B tier because there's just like so many good flame characters, and he ends up just getting edged out when it comes to having all these choices. Also, because of passion overload. I like the ability that you can charge it up to do a significant amount of extra damage and trigger an explosion, but the skill would really just be a lot better if it just did that from a single tap rather than you having to wait to charge it up. I know it's a short hold, but it ends up mattering in some of the more difficult content. Fantastic Voyage is great though, being able to heal your party if they're below 70% or give them an attack bonus. That is super, super good, and you don't even need the HP requirement if you end up getting him to Constellation 1. That ends up just becoming an attack bonus. So that can definitely overall increase your party's overall damage. Fire Ventures with Me, his ultimate, I mean, pretty good. Normal and charge attacks now do pyro damage. You end up giving Fantastic Voyage a 15% pyro damage bonus. So you're definitely going to want to build Bennett full pyro damage. That is where you're going to get the most use out of him. But it's for those reasons that I place Bennett in B tier. Chongyun, my boy, I'm also going to go ahead and put you in the B tier as well. Now, Chongyun's main reason for sitting in the B tier is the fact that he is slow. Yeah, he's got the charge attack. Yeah, he's got the Claymore. Yeah, Claymore users are generally a little bit slower, but you'll find that one of the best Claymore users we're going to put up here is up there because of the fact that he ends up getting really, really fast. Now, Chongyun's Rhyme Chaser Blade passive that he gets at Ascension rank 4 is really, really good, being able to summon another enemy attacker, something that deals 100% of Chongyun's Layered Frost skill's damage as AoE cryo damage. That is going to help with your overall cryo bonuses. As far as this exploration passive of Gallant Journey, you're going to find that all of the exploration passives I really don't think are that great. I found myself more often with exploration than not. I just set my characters on the 20-hour, I send them out, and then I end up collecting whatever they've collected the next day. So having that reduction in time isn't very important to me. I do like Chongyun's ultimate though. Like, the fact that it's Naruto hand symbols is a huge plus in my book, and just a big bit of AoE cryo damage. Simple, but effective. Next up is your boy Diluc. And, he goes right up there into the double S tier. Gang, I have no idea what MiHoYo was thinking when they made this character. Diluc is just so good. Searing Onslaught, massive pyro damage. Dawn, possibly, honestly, I'm actually going to straight up say it's probably the best damage dealing ultimate in the entire game. That Phoenix that flies forward deals massive damage, causes an explosion at its destination, and it also causes normal and charge attacks to deal pyro damage for a short period of time. So if you just build a full pyro focus on Diluc, full pyro DPS with, say, the Debate Club or a Prototype Animus, you are going to be dealing just crazy amounts of damage. Plus the synergy he has with some of the other really good characters on this list, characters that can trap, like, say, Venti. Trap them all in a Cyclone and then have Diluc use a Flame Phoenix. That is just going to be absurd. Nothing is going to survive that. Also, a couple of other reasons Diluc is so strong. Relentless. Charge attack stamina cost being decreased by 50%. That is great, and plus, if you get him to Constellation 1, if you were lucky enough, that 15% damage increase, if your enemy's HP is above 50%, you're going to be feeling that. Our favorite eye patch, Chunibyo, is just going to have to be chucked right up into the double S tier as well. I love this girl. I see why the fandom loves her too. She is just incredible. Oz is like a deal breaker in battles. Oz has made some of the most difficult battles I've faced in the game into a cakewalk after I pulled this character. You've got the electro damage in a small AoE burst, and then he continues to deal damage. Midnight Phantasmagoria is probably the best escape kill in the entire game, just being able to straight up fly past your enemies, automatically deal damage, and refresh the countdown of Oz. Oh my gosh, that is super good. And gang, get her to Con 6, Evernight Raven. Increase the duration of Oz's summoning. Oz stays out to continue those tasty elemental chains when you're switching characters like you should be. Man, this girl's good. Next up is Jean, and Jean I'm going to go ahead and chuck in the S tier along with Barbara. Jean is another fantastic healer that heals based off of dealing damage. You might end up finding yourself using Barbara more just because, you know, she's a 4-star, you end up getting her for free, you have a higher chance to pull her, but Jean herself is no joke. I really like Dandelion Breeze. The fact that it ends up regenerating HP is great. The fact that HP restored scales off Jean's attack means you can build her full DPS and end up still getting that huge bonus from the heals as well. And being able to, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, give your team a good attacker as well as a good healer, that is super, super nice. She's also got her Wind Companion ability at Ascension 1. Her hits by normal attacks have a 50% chance to regenerate the HP of all of her party members. Well, that's just going to keep your team refreshed throughout the entire fight. I also definitely like Jean's general ability to crowd control, her ability to push and pull enemies with her Anemo abilities. That is great, and that can set up some really devastating combos. Oh man, Kaeya, you look super cool, but you are just woefully underwhelming compared to your brother. I'm actually going to have to go ahead and chuck you in C tier, my man. Now, he still ends up playing among the fundamental rules of the game, but the fact of the matter is that Frostgnaw and Glacial Waltz are just mediocre abilities at best compared to all of the other abilities characters have in the game. Frostgnaw, a single blast, really? That's it? You're not even granting another additional effect on top of that? Yeah, it's great for exploration. It's got a very, very short cooldown. You can move around the world with it very, very well. But that's pretty much it. Glacial Waltz, I mean, you've got to stay still near enemies in order to deal the maximum amount of damage from it. If your dodge game is not strong, you're going to get knocked away, and you're going to end up losing out on damage as well. Yeah, it's nice that enemies frozen by Frostgnaw can drop additional elemental particles when he ends up getting to Ascension rank 4, but that's a max of 2. That really, really could be better. Sprinting stamina consumption, I will give him, that is nice, but there's just not enough here for me to place Kaeya any higher. Ooh, Keqing got those buffs recently, people, and by buffs I mean they actually fixed how her abilities work, and because they fix how her abilities work, we get to send her firmly into that double S tier. Oh, Keqing is so good. Keqing is so fun to use. And she's got just so much utility hidden in the fact that she is this crazy attacker. Starward Sword just straight up gives her invincibility the entire time that she's using it. She's just flying around dealing all this damage, and that's what they fixed on her. That last attack damage now properly scales with your artifacts. So that ended up pumping her DPS up quite a bit. When it comes to Stellar Restoration, the fact that you can throw those stilettos and then end up teleporting them is some Yondaime from Naruto crap. That is just absolutely insane. And the fact that it just gives you so much mobility, that's honestly saved my butt more than once, getting me out of these crazy AoEs and end up dealing a little bit of extra damage to your enemies to boot. She just has some crazy crit potential as well, thanks to her Aristocratic Dignity skill. When casting Starward Sword, 15% crit rate, 15% energy charge for an extra 8 seconds. That's super nice. And Keqing just getting all of these electro damage bonuses on top of that. Gang, you give her Lion's Roar immediately, and I promise you she will become one of, if not the top damage dealer you have. Klee, I have definitely got to go ahead and chuck up into RS tier. Our resident explosives expert is pretty strong. I would say the second best pyro character in the game. Of course, Diluc taking that honor from her. Jumpty Dumpty is nice, getting that third bounce, blowing up mines, exploding those mines, dealing a ton of pyro damage, and that thing has 2 charges. You're able to set up some really impressive pyro blankets there, and if you lead your enemies into the pyro blankets, well, you're going to get off some elemental combos with that. Sparks and Splash on top of that, attacking nearby enemies with AoE pyro damage. Again, use that super quick. Second it ends, transfer somebody out, get an elemental chain off of that. Her Sparkling Burst, when a charge attack results in a crit, all party members gaining 2 elemental energy. That's okay, I don't find myself using charge attacks that much, but with Klee, you actually definitely really want to do it. because her pounding surprise on top of that, the explosive sparks she uses, those go with her charged attacks, and if you consume those, you deal an extra 50% increased damage. If you get her to Constellation 1 gang, that ability to chain damage, to deal an extra 120% damage with Sparks and Splash, wow, that is just nice. And of course, you've got complete and utter energy regeneration if you get a Constellation 6. Gotta be really lucky to do that though, but it's good. Lisa stands, I am sorry, but I'm gonna go ahead and chuck Lisa into our C tier as well. Yeah, she's the first Electro character we get, and she does Electro damage. But we got some really phenomenal characters in this game that do Electro damage. Look at Keqing up there. There's another character we're going to talk about in a bit that's also very good as well. When you're comparing and contrasting between the Electro characters in the game, Lisa just doesn't stack up. Yes, she has a ability to decrease the enemy's defense by 15%. That's fine. I really enjoy that aspect of her kit. But just the way her casting ends up working, it never ends up feeling like she's dealing all that damage. Yeah, you're able to get the Electro Chains off, but if you're able to get those Electro Chains off and do other stuff on top of that, that's going to be a lot better than just getting those Electro Chains off. So, Lisa, you get the job done if I really need an Electro character, but there are other Electro characters that just do it better. In perhaps my most controversial decision of the entire video, Mona is going up into double S tier. And gang, this is a combination of her exploration as well as her crafting and damage and crowd control abilities. Mona's just absurd. Mona is absolutely absurd in the right hands. Reflection of Doom does what I wish Amber's doll did. It really does. It continuously taunts nearby enemies while dealing damage to them, and then when the duration expires, it explodes. The fact that it deals damage to your enemies is huge. Also, the fact that Mona can use her phantoms as an oh crap button to get out of the way of damage and have a boss stop attacking her, that's going to save your butt so many times. Also, you know that bubble effect that the Abyss Mages have? I know you hate it. I know you've been stuck in it multiple times, and you curse your very existence every single time that happens. Yeah, that's Mona's ultimate. That is straight up Mona's ultimate. So you get to do that to your opponents and give them a taste of their own medicine. She also gets an alternate sprint where she just gets to move super fast over water. Having any terrain giving you a super fast boost, well, that's super good. And plus she can use that as a maneuvering ability. When she appears near enemies, she applies wet. Also, get her to Ascension 1, she will automatically create those phantoms. Get her to Constellation 1, you increase the damage of all your hydro-related elemental actions. So she becomes a great elemental burst character on top of that. I kind of feel like Mona's being slept on, straight up, just being put at tiers as low as A and S and all that. No, Mona is phenomenal. Ningguang, you are going to go ahead and get chucked into the B tier. I love Trove of Marvelous Treasures. I really do. I love being able to see all of the ore veins on my map. That has helped me with weapon ascension so many times. So let's start off with that. Now, when it comes to her passives for a detriment, backup plan, pretty situational, haven't really used it much. So that honestly kind of seems like a wasted slot in my eyes. But when it comes to her other stuff, Ningguang's got the Jade Screen. I really like the Jade Screen. I've used Jade Screen so many times to just set up the screen and then immediately switch Ningguang out. And it's like all of my ranged opponents aren't even in the fight anymore. It's actually fantastic. Star Shatter is pretty vanilla, but if you use it in conjunction with the Jade Screen, you're able to get some actually pretty impressive damage about it. That's really all I've got to say about Ningguang. She's just got it. She's good. Alright, so Ningguang is going to go ahead and go up into the B tier. I've actually personally had a lot of positive experience adventuring at Ningguang. The Jade Screen, I feel, is pretty underrated. Being able to just take all of my ranged opponents out of the fight ends up making some really heavy encounters a lot more manageable. Star Shatter might be a pretty vanilla skill, but it gets the job done, it deals damage, that's really what you need. The main reason I put Ningguang on my team is because of her Trove of Marvelous Treasure ability. Just being able to see all of the mine nodes on my map has made leveling and ascending weapons a lot easier. Backup plan is nice when I'm able to use charge attacks, when I don't have to worry about using my mobility and all that. Getting those Star Jades, it's not super difficult to build just one up. So having the ability to just use charge attack without using stamina and have an escape mode if you need it, well, that puts Ningguang in B tier for me. This is going to be another controversial move I make, gang, but I really feel like that is where Noelle belongs. Noelle is a good defensive healer. I will definitely give you that. But the fact of the matter is we also do get Barbara for free, so that really ends up playing against her. Yeah, you get a shield at 30% HP. Yeah, you get the ability to deal geo damage to surrounding enemies with the shield and absorb some damage. But I just don't really think the benefits are worth the general trade-offs. Like, yeah, look at all these other Claymore users we have available to us. Look at Chongyun, look at Diluc. Odds are you're only going to end up investing in one Claymore in order to have a very good Claymore user. You're going to have your main, you're going to have your guy. And I just feel like if you've pulled all these other Claymore users, then Noelle just doesn't end up making the cut compared to how strong literally every single other Claymore user is. Yeah, she's serviceable if you got her. She absolutely is. I do like sweeping time. It's a fun ability to use. I like the attack scales off of her defense of that particularly. But after that ends up wearing off, you just end up losing a lot of attack if you're focusing her on complete and utter defense. If you get her to 6 Constellation, you're going to deal an impressive amount of damage, but that's still getting a character to 6 Constellation. I really don't think Noelle's that great. And it's time for the best healer in the game, baby! It's Qiqi! Oh my gosh, Qiqi just... There's no reason to put another healer in my team. I told you I took out Barbara. This is why I took out Barbara. Qiqi is just absolutely absurd. Seriously, just regenerating HP for the current character, you can swap her out. It's fine, and she'll still end up dealing damage to everyone. Her Adeptus Art, Preserver of Fortune, oh my gosh, just hit the marked enemies and you'll end up healing HP. You are basically just straight up rewarded HP for whoever deals damage. It doesn't have to be Qiqi. It can be literally anybody dealing damage. They will still get that healing. Also, her ability at Ascension 1, Life Prolonging Methods, when you trigger an elemental reaction with Herald of Frost, incoming healing bonus is increased by 20% for 8 seconds, so you get even more health back. Former life memories, being able to see all of the resources of Liyue, yeah, that's awesome. That's all of the resources of Liyue. That's everything unique to Liyue. That includes Core Lapis. That's so cool. And plus, if you manage a Constellation 1 her, I mean Ascetics of Frost, Qiqi regenerates energy, being able to use her most powerful abilities again. And if you get her to 6, gang, that might be the most powerful Constellation 6 ability in the game. Using her ultimate, not dying, not triggering based on somebody dying, but using her ultimate, revives all nearby fallen characters and regenerates 50% of their HP. That is the biggest oh crap button in the entire game. And it's for all these reasons that Qiqi deserves the double S spot. Razor, my man, you are just the king of energy recharge. You get to sit up there right in A tier. Yes, our first A tier character is Razor. This boy is the king of energy recharge and probably one of the best Electro characters in the game. Man, just not even the fact that he's a JoJo's reference is the reason he's up there. He is just able to recharge all of his energy super fast. Those Electro sigils he has are what causes him to do that. And just the damage he is able to deal with Lightning Fang, his soul companion. It strikes alongside Razor's normal attacks, adding yet another bonus. It also raises Razor's attack speed and Electro resistance. So if you're fighting a very powerful enemy that uses Electro, but is not immune to Electro, you're gonna get bonuses from that. Yeah, it disables Razor's charge attacks, but that is not really a big deal. His passive abilities are super cool too, his Ascension 4-1 being the standout. When he's below 50% energy, increases energy recharge by 30%. And he's got that excellent Woven Sprint passive ability, so you are saving a lot on that sprinting stamina consumption. Probably one of the most important things to save on because you use that in battle when you dodge. Razor, you have earned the A tier. Those wolves raised you well. Sucrose, I'm gonna go ahead and put you in C tier. You're kind of our budget Venti. I really like your ability to sort of control the battlefield with Forbidden Creation, as well as your Asable Anemo Hypostasis creation. You know, being able to deal damage to enemies in AoE with a Wind Spirit, pulling them, pushing them, holding them in place. That gives us some good potential to set up some very good combos. However, I mean, just a 10% chance to double the product when you craft character and weapon enhancement materials. Really, that's all you can give me. Your elemental mastery bonus, that's okay, I guess. I mean, it could have been a better effect, like maybe, say, attack speed or energy recharge or something like that. I don't know, gang. I like the ability of Sucrose to manipulate the battlefield, but overall, Sucrose could be better. So we're going to say Girl Traveler is Anemo and Boy Traveler is Geo. Girl Traveler, I actually am going to go ahead and put up here in the S tier. Boy Traveler for Geo, I'm going to go ahead and put down in the B tier. Now, the main reason I put the Anemo Traveler up in S tier is because those Anemo reactions, for starters, super strong, very good reactions. Even though, you know, we put Sucrose in C tier. Actually, let's move Sucrose up to B tier just for the sake of Anemo reactions. That's what happens when you're Anemo. It puts you up a little bit. But on top of that, that Tornado, super good. Able to create all those vortexes that deal extra damage. And plus, I really like the charged version of Palm Vortex and the fact that it is able to heal the Traveler. That has really helped out more often than not. Plus, if you get that Traveler to Constellation 6, which you will because the Traveler is free, you'll end up reducing your enemy's Anemo resist by 20%, so you'll get a little extra damage out of that. Now, when it comes to Geo Traveler, just not nearly as good. Geo reactions in general are just some of the most underwhelming reactions in the entire game. I like the ability that you're able to set off shockwaves and launch your enemies, but I mean, that's only like a temporary fix. It's not as good as, say, Mona's Water Bubble. That is super good. The Starfell Sword, that meteorite you make, that's nice, though. That gives you the ability to do a lot of extra exploring. Though I really think things like Anemo Gusts and all that are a lot stronger when it comes to exploring. So that's why I put the Traveler where they are. Venti, I gotta go and put up in that double S tier. This boy has proved that he is a god. Oh my gosh, Skyward Sonnet is just a perfect quick little lockdown ability, and it gives you some massive exploration potential. There's so many puzzles that I would have just hit my head against the desk over, but with Skyward Sonnet, they just became absolutely trivialized as I used Venti's ability to climb seemingly impossible gaps. Wind's Grand Ode is probably the best lockdown ability in the entire game, being able to hold your opponents in one section for a prolonged period of time, setting them up for, say, a Diluc Flame Slash, or a Keqing Lightning Slash. Just pretty much any targeted ability you can think of, Venti is going to hold them in place to ensure it can happen. It can even pair well with Amber. That's crazy, right? The ability to hold them in place long enough for that Fire Arrow rain to get down. Oh, man. Plus, he gets that gliding stamina consumption. I really like that. And plus, Splitting Gale at Constellation 1, firing 2 additional arrows with aim shot. Some people say this is actually, you need to get Venti to Constellation 1 to really make him reach his full potential. Because that extra 33% of damage on each of those arrows, that's going to deal a lot of extra damage to some of those very powerful bosses. And of course, he can decrease Anemo resistance if you get him all the way up to Constellation 6. So if you're looking to wail on him, it's actually a good mechanical idea. That is where Venti stands. Xiangling's going to go ahead and go up into S tier. I've seen some crazy moves from her, gang. People flying across the map with her charged up Dofu in the air, like they're freaking Tao Pai Pai from Dragon Ball, just going across the entire map. It's nuts, and it is a valid exploration ability that you should use. Xiangling, very powerful fire-type character. Pyronado has saved my bacon more often than not. And plus, she's got a little panda that eats chili peppers and shoots fire. and those chili peppers are actually very, very strong. Who would have thought it? Gets a range increase at Ascension 1, and at Ascension 4, well, drops a chili pepper where he lands. You can go ahead, pick that up, and get a 10% attack boost. Man. Also, get her Constellation 1, reduce your enemy's pyro resistance, so she just ends up dealing even more damage. Completely stack some pyro support on this girl with, say, like Prototype Grudge or something like that, and you're gonna see that damage climb. Xiao is my aesthetic, people, and he's gonna go ahead and sit right up in A tier alongside Venti. I love Xiao's Bane of All Evil ability. That ability to just turn into a crazy demon dragon Yaksha creature. Not only is that just super cool looking, but it's super powerful, increasing his damage, increasing his jumping ability, but it does continuously drain his HP, and that is an unfortunate problem. I like his ability with wind cycling. Being able to use it in mid-air gives you quite a bit of mid-air mobility, and it really, really helps in exploration. His Gravity Defier passive, taking less fall damage, while nice, is not really that big of a deal. You can just go ahead and use a dive attack, and the fall damage ends up being negligible anyways, because you're going to heal that right up already. Evil Conqueror, Tamer of Demons. Let's talk about that. Using Bane of All Evil, it increases Xiao's damage by 5%, and it continues to increase by 5% every 3 seconds until the skill ends, a max of 25% off of that. So you get Xiao's ultimate dealing extra damage just by getting him to Ascension 1. That is super cool. And when you get him to Ascension 4, that wind cycling ability you can use in midair, that gets 3 stacks. So you not only get increased damage, but you get increased mobility as well. As far as his passive abilities, I don't really see a lot here that's super impressive. I do like his Constellation 2 ability that increases energy recharge when he's not the active character. And of course his Constellation 6, always good, giving his wind cycling 1 additional charge and reducing its cooldown, granting you even more mobility faster. And Guhua Geek, you are going to go ahead and go up into A tier. This man has some pretty powerful abilities, in all honesty. I really like Rain Cutter. I like the consecutive attacks. I like the fact that these swords stay and that the sword's effects carry over to other characters. That gives us a lot of potential to set up some really good elemental reactions. Fatal Rain Screen does also have the ability to reduce damage. Being able to reduce damage with these rain swords, that is great. That's going to make sure your other characters have an ability to deal damage longer, and of course give your healer a little bit of extra time to heal them all up. When it comes to his passive abilities, Hydropathic is great. When those rain swords shatter, you get some HP back, so that helps with your overall healing. And its Ascension 4 ability, 20% Hyro damage bonus, is simple yet effective. Get him to Constellation 1, get another rain sword. Get him to Constellation 6, well gang, you are going to be getting 3 energy when the sword rain he uses attacks his enemies. So, very, very good job, Guhua Geek. You are really taking those lessons to heart. And finally, Paimon. Paimon, I'm going to go ahead and chuck you into double S tier just on the virtue of being less annoying than Navi and Fi. Good job. And there you have it. That is my Genshin Impact tier list. Whether you agree with it or not, that's just what I believe. Go ahead and let me know what you think about my tier placements down in the comment section below. Let me know what characters you're using. Let me know what teams you're using. And let me know if you'd like to see me do this for maybe some other kinds of games. This was actually a really, really fun exercise, and I enjoyed it greatly. You can always come talk some Genshin Impact over on the Discord. You can hit me up on Patreon if you think I'm doing a good job. And, of course, my Twitch channel is always open as well. We're going to be trying to stream there more once I finally get my office set up. This is Kawaii50. I hope you're all having a phenomenal day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.